Top 20 Most Shocking Facts About Human History. History is not just a collection of dates, names, and battles. It is a living record of humanity's greatest triumphs and darkest moments. But beneath the surface of the well-known stories, there are countless shocking, disturbing, and sometimes downright unbelievable facts that reveal just how strange our past truly was. In this video, we will uncover 20 of the most shocking facts about human history, secrets, tragedies, and bizarre truths that will change the way you see the world forever. Some of these will fascinate you, some will horrify you, and others will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about civilization. So, let's dive in. Fact 1. The Dancing Plague of 1518. In July 1518, the citizens of Strasbourg, now modern-day France, were struck by one of the strangest medical mysteries ever recorded: the Dancing Plague. It began when a woman named Frau Trophea stepped into the street and started dancing uncontrollably. Within days, dozens joined her, writhing and moving to an invisible rhythm. Historical records say as many as 400 people danced, some collapsing from exhaustion, and some reportedly danced to their deaths. Doctors at the time believed it was due to hot blood, but modern theories suggest mass hysteria, food poisoning from ergot mold, or even stress-induced psychosis. Regardless of the cause, it remains one of the most bizarre collective episodes in human history. Fact 2. The 38-Minute War. The shortest war in history lasted just 38 minutes. On August 27, 1896, the Anglo-Zanzibar War broke out after the Sultan of Zanzibar refused to step down as demanded by the British Empire. When negotiations failed, the Royal Navy bombarded the Sultan's palace. By the time the smoke cleared, 500 Zanzibari defenders were dead, and the Sultan had fled. Britain quickly installed a new ruler, and the war was over in less than an hour. Imagine a global conflict resolved before you could even finish breakfast. Fact 3. The Great Emu War in Australia. In 1932, Australia declared war, not against another country, but against emus, large flightless birds that were damaging crops in Western Australia. The military brought in machine guns and soldiers, but the emus proved surprisingly resilient. They scattered, dodged bullets, and outran trucks. Despite firing thousands of rounds, the soldiers failed to make a dent in the emu population. Eventually, the government admitted defeat. To this day, the Great Emu War remains one of history's most comical yet shocking military blunders. Fact 4. The corpse of a pope put on trial. In the year 897 AD, one of the most bizarre trials in history took place. Pope Stephen VI ordered the body of his predecessor, Pope Formosus, to be exhumed and placed on trial in what is now called the Cadaver Synod. Dressed in papal robes, the corpse was propped up in a chair as Stephen accused him of perjury and violating church laws. The dead pope was found guilty, his body mutilated and thrown into the Tiber River. This grotesque event shocked Europe and highlighted the extreme corruption and chaos within the medieval church. Fact 5. Napoleon was once attacked by rabbits. Napoleon Bonaparte, one of the greatest military leaders in history, faced a most unexpected defeat by rabbits. After a successful campaign, Napoleon organized a rabbit hunt for himself and his men. However, the gamekeeper mistakenly released tame, farm-raised rabbits instead of wild ones. Instead of running away, the rabbits charged toward Napoleon and his men, thinking they were about to be fed. Hundreds of fluffy attackers swarmed the emperor until he had to retreat to his carriage. Even history's greatest conqueror couldn't win against hungry bunnies. Fact 6. The Black Death's terrifying death toll. Between 1347 and 1351, the Black Death swept through Europe, killing an estimated 25 to 50 million people, about one-third of the continent's population. Entire villages vanished, and mass graves became the norm. The pandemic also triggered shocking cultural responses. People blamed witches, foreigners, or even divine punishment. Some groups, known as flagellants, whipped themselves in the streets to seek forgiveness from God. Beyond the horror, the Black Death also changed history by reshaping Europe's economy, weakening the feudal system, and paving the way for the Renaissance. Fact 7. The bloodiest battle in human history. While World War II is full of devastating battles, none were more deadly than the Battle of Stalingrad, 1942-1943. Over 5 months, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union clashed in brutal street-to-street fighting. Civilians were trapped in the city with no escape, forced to scavenge for food and water. By the time the Soviet Union claimed victory, as many as 2 million soldiers and civilians were dead. The battle shocked the world with its scale of human suffering and turned the tide of the war. Fact 8. Roman concrete still outlasts ours. The ancient Romans built structures so durable that they have survived for over 2,000 years, including aqueducts, amphitheaters, and even harbors. Modern engineers were long baffled by the secret of Roman concrete. Recent research revealed that the concrete could heal itself. When cracks formed, water would seep in and reactivate lime particles, strengthening the structure. Shockingly, this means ancient Roman construction may have been more advanced in durability than much of what we build today. Fact 9. The cannibalism at Jamestown. America's first permanent English settlement, Jamestown, faced a horrific winter in 1609-1610, known as the Starving Time. Food shortages became so severe that colonists resorted to eating rats, snakes, shoe leather, and, according to archaeological evidence, even cannibalism. A teenage girl's remains showed clear butchering marks, confirming desperate colonists had turned to eating human flesh to survive. This shocking revelation exposes the brutal reality of early colonial life in America. Fact 10. The Mongols' biological warfare. The Mongol Empire, under its ruthless commanders, didn't just conquer through force of arms. They also used biological warfare. In 1346, during the siege of the Crimean city of Kaffa, Mongol forces reportedly catapulted plague-infected corpses over the city walls. This gruesome tactic may have helped spread the Black Death into Europe. Shockingly, one of history's deadliest pandemics may have been accelerated by intentional human action. Fact 11. Cleopatra lived closer to the moon landing than to the pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built around 2560 BC, while Cleopatra ruled Egypt in the 1st century BC. That means Cleopatra lived over 2,000 years after the pyramids were built, but only about 2,000 years before the moon landing in 1969. This fact shocks many because it reminds us that the ancient world covered vast stretches of time, and much of what we think of as ancient was already ancient, even to the ancients. Fact 12. The Aztec human sacrifices. The Aztec civilization is often admired for its architecture, astronomy, and art, but its religious practices were shocking. To appease their gods, the Aztecs performed large-scale human sacrifices. In the great temple of Tenochtitlan, thousands of captives were executed in ritual ceremonies, with their hearts ripped out and offered to the gods. While it seems horrifying today, for the Aztecs, it was a sacred duty to ensure the sun would rise and the world would continue. Fact 13. The Salem witch trials executed innocent people. In 1692, fear and hysteria gripped Salem, Massachusetts, leading to one of the most infamous episodes in American history. More than 200 people were accused of witchcraft, often based on little or no evidence. 19 were executed, mostly women, and one man was crushed to death under heavy stones. The Salem witch trials remain a shocking reminder of how mass paranoia and superstition can destroy innocent lives. Fact 14. The Colosseum was once flooded for naval battles. Rome's Colosseum wasn't just used for gladiator fights. In its early days, engineers flooded the arena to stage mock naval battles. Special aqueducts were used to fill the massive structure with water, allowing ships to reenact famous battles. This shocked spectators with Rome's engineering genius and its appetite for extravagant, deadly entertainment. Fact 15. The Great Fire of London was blamed on an innocent man in 1666. A fire swept through London, destroying much of the city. While it began accidentally in a bakery, people demanded someone to blame. A French watchmaker named Robert Hubert falsely confessed, perhaps due to mental illness, and was executed for starting the fire, even though he wasn't in London when it began. The shocking injustice reveals how fear and anger can quickly turn into scapegoating. Fact 16. Hitler's nephew fought against him. Adolf Hitler's family ties produced a shocking twist in World War II. His nephew, William Patrick Hitler, emigrated to the United States and joined the US Navy. He fought against Nazi Germany, directly opposing his infamous uncle. After the war, he changed his name and lived quietly in America. This surprising story shows how history's darkest figures could have family members who stood against them. Fact 17. The Great Molasses Flood of 1919 in Boston, January 1919. A massive storage tank holding 2.3 million gallons of molasses burst, sending a wave of sticky syrup rushing through the streets. The flood moved at 35 mph, destroying buildings, crushing people, and killing 21. Over 100 were injured. The shocking molasses flood was both tragic and bizarre, reminding us that history is not only shaped by wars and politics, but also by unexpected disasters. Fact 18. The medieval animal trials. During the Middle Ages, animals were sometimes put on trial just like humans. Pigs, dogs, and even insects were accused of crimes ranging from theft to murder. They were given lawyers, trials, and sometimes executed. These bizarre practices reflected how deeply religion and superstition influenced medieval law, and they remain one of the strangest chapters in human justice. Fact 19. The Titanic wasn't the deadliest shipwreck. While the sinking of the Titanic in 1912 shocked the world, it wasn't the deadliest maritime disaster. That title belongs to the Wilhelm Gustloff, a German ship sunk by a Soviet submarine in 1945 during World War II. Over 9,000 people died, mostly civilians and refugees fleeing the war. The shocking scale of the tragedy was overshadowed by the war and remains relatively unknown today. Fact 20. The Library of Alexandria's mysterious destruction. One of the greatest tragedies of human history is the destruction of the Library of Alexandria. This ancient library, said to house hundreds of thousands of scrolls containing the world's knowledge, was destroyed in a series of fires. The exact details are still debated, whether it was Julius Caesar's troops, later invasions, or neglect. But the shocking loss meant that countless works of literature, science, and history disappeared forever. Humanity may have lost knowledge that could have advanced civilization by centuries. Human history is filled with stories that inspire, terrify, and astonish us. From bizarre battles with animals to devastating plagues and mind-bending mysteries, these shocking facts remind us that the past is stranger than fiction. Which of these facts surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Top Facts for more incredible discoveries every week. Because sometimes, the truth really is stranger than anything we could imagine.